Welcome, my name is Anastasia Danilova from the University of Bonn and I am going to present our paper One Size Does Not Fit All, a grounded theory and online survey study of developer preferences for security warning types. And I would like to thank my co-authors for their contribution. Security warnings are a form of computer dialogue communication used to notify users about potential risks of their actions and security issues. Software developers can encounter security warnings while programming and can become frustrated by them. However, security warnings can increase the security of code. Gorski and colleagues showed that warnings displayed by the compiler can improve code security. Johnson et al. Found that developers do not use static analysis tools because of the poor integration into developers' workflows. Therefore, we wondered, what are developers' wishes concerning when and how they would like to be warned in the software development process, and which types of warnings do they prefer, as there are a number of different types which could be integrated into the IDE. Our study consists of two parts. We conducted semi-structured interviews with 14 professional developers and 12 computer science students, as well as a focus group with 7 academic researchers. For the evaluation, we used grounded theory by Sharmas with theoretical sampling to get a broad overview of the problem space. We followed up this qualitative work with a quantitative survey with 50 developers to test the developed themes and our explanatory theory. To decide which types of warnings to use, related work on security bugs was reviewed and the findings were discussed with colleagues from the field of computer science. I will now show you the different warning types we showed our participants in our study. The first warning type is a common warning marker used by many IDEs, which means underlining the code and showing a warning marker at the left side of the IDE. We also added a variation of this, using blue as a new color for security warnings. We also added a lock icon as a warning marker to stress security. Next, we have a compiler warning, meaning warnings are displayed in the compiler output. Also, we illustrated the warning view, inspired by static analyzer plugins like PMD or FindBugs. And it is also possible to have a warning view solely for security issues, which we called a security view. We also included pop-up warnings, since they are used for end-user warnings. And we included 2 further pop-up warnings variants, which only appear when the code is committed. The first one appears on committing and asks whether the developer would still like to commit or go back to the code. And the second approach was added as part of the grounded theory approach and based on the feedback of our participants. It's a pop-up warning on committing, in which there is an option to create a ticket to delegate the warning to a colleague. Let's discuss our results. Our theory, grounded in our data, suggests that the context is the key. Developers' stated preferences are based on coding purpose, developers' characteristics, team and organization context. And we have factors as security policies and focus in the company, as well as team experience, size, and own experience, familiarity, and workflow. We found that customizing security warnings is a desired feature by developers. All of our participants had experience with the standard yellow warning marker. However, some participants reported that they tended to ignore them. The yellow marker allows code to compile and could therefore be regarded as less important. Furthermore, one participant stated that it could be difficult to find markers in a large code base and there is not enough space to display the warning message properly. Others favored an extra symbol to indicate a security issues. For the warning and security views, most IDEs allow plugins to add sub-windows to the IDE and have the option to switch to dedicated views with a set of windows for a specific purpose, such as debugging or security testing. However, a number of participants found that the user interfaces of IDEs are already overloaded. 2 participants stated that it's necessary for them to familiarize themselves with new plugins because they are not accustomed to look at the corner of the screens where the warnings are positioned. Others were already familiar with warning views and favored them as they provide summaries of important security issues. For compiler warnings, our participants had mixed feelings. Some participants found that compiler warnings could be easily overlooked because the compiler can produce a lot of information which can hide the warnings. By contrast, other participants had positive feelings about compiler warnings and even stated that this could be one of their favorite warning approaches. The majority of our participants did not like the idea of pop-ups because they were considered distracting, annoying, and would disrupt the programming and the workflow. However, while participants with more programming experience had negative opinions about pop-ups, participants with less programming experience, 1 to 4 years, said that pop-ups could be okay when coding. Some students found that in very important cases, distracting pop-ups could be useful to catch the attention of the programmer. Additionally, most of the experienced participants admitted that pop-ups could be used in certain situations, such as when a developer initiates an action like committing code. The vast majority of our participants therefore found warnings on committing to be one of the best, because it does not interrupt the coding process, but it's most visible and noticeable. For the question which type was rated to be the most favored, multiple answers were possible and no type is the clear winner. However, we found also a correlation between fitting the workflow and a positive opinion on the warning type. It is very likely that configuring could be beneficial. The next question was when to display warnings. As we see here, a lot of participants said that they would like to be warned before committing, before running the code, or on demand. This shows that there are a lot of different views and developers should be able to configure the warnings and the warning time on their own. Our takeaways are that warnings are regarded as a good way to raise awareness for security issues. However, different preferences in time and display were also visible. The developer's context needs to be considered, and this includes the type of company or team the developer works in, as well as the purpose of the code or the characteristics of the developer. Companies implement also different policies, and team colleagues play a role in the process as well. Therefore, our recommendations are that the context and workflow needs to be considered and configuration should be possible. Our participants had a positive view on security warnings because they saw that warnings could help them to stay up to date. Thank you very much for your attention, and if you have any questions, you can contact us.